and the armed forces to secure the pipelines, the government is asking extra-legal bodies to engage in security work in a country. One or some of those groups have been given about a contract of about 10 billion naira. Another one is fighting here now in the southwest to get a contract of 2.5 billion naira to secure pipelines in the southwest. After that, of course, I expect another group in the southeast to say, we want to secure pipeline too.
And
in the north.
Justified.
Now, but nobody is giving such funds to the police or the armed forces. So you can't run a country like that. And so if these boys have stumbled on money now, unearned wealth, you have empowered them beyond their expectation. You don't expect them to operate under the rule of law. So that is why they are making
when you say the money,
this reckless statement.
These monies have not been given to the police. Let's look at that. I mean, look at the hierarchy, for instance. Are you sure the money is not being siphoned and put into other?
No. I mean, that's another one. But I'm talking of what we all know, which is that pipeline contracts. I mean, pipeline security of pipeline contracts are being given to ethnic militias or militant groups and the rest of them. And I'm saying you cannot police a country by handing over the security of the country to extra-legal forces.
Should we decentralize the police then?
Beg your pardon?
Should we decentralize the police force?
No, that one... You see, there are some of these arguments that are very funny to me. The police force has been decentralized.
I mean, the states
how
being in charge.
How has the police force been decentralized?
Now, if you are asking a body outside the police force, right, to secure pipelines. In fact, the government is even planning to create a commission, pipeline maintenance commission, or whatever they want to call it, for these illegal bodies. So how can you say the police are don't be decentralized? I understand what you are saying. I'm just saying.
I'm coming to another angle because some argument is that some of the
question says, section 214, there shall be only one Nigerian police force. But today, you have all manners of forces.
Which is why we're asking, should we go for state police? Should we go for state police? Would that make a difference?
You see, again, we have no alternative. Right now, apart from payment of salaries by the federal government, the supply of vehicles, the maintenance of those vehicles, the supply of other gadgets, purchase of APC and other equipment for the police are now done by state governments. And for instance, if I were a governor, I would have gone to the Supreme Court to say that the lives of the people in my state are endangered. I want their lives protected. Either by the federal government or you allow me to do so.
That means they have to change the law.
Of course. I mean, no. You see, there's a lot of fraud in this argument. As a Nigerian citizen, I can have security in my house because I live with the elite. In Lagos, we have to have security in our estate. And in all areas inhabited by the elite, you have security arrangements. Some of them are armed. In other areas, you have neighborhood watchers and whatever you call them. Some of them are armed. Now, what stops the state government from coordinating all these forces? And that is what...
That will be parallel.
And that is what state police...
When the government say no, that is running contrary to the law.
I'm saying right now, that is what is happening on the field. And the law allows me to defend myself. The Constitution has given me the right to self-defense.
But not to bear arms unless
no, if
otherwise authorized.
If an armed robber is going to attack me, and I can lay hands on a gun, the law allows me to fire first.
But you have to get the permission to lay hands.
In that kind of situation, I don't need the permission.
Well, how would you get it?
If I don't want to keep, if I just stumble on it.
Oh.
But the point I'm making is that we must take the question of the security of our people much more seriously, because Section 14 of the Constitution says the security and welfare of the citizens of our country shall be the primary purpose of governance. True. Once a government cannot guarantee the security and welfare of citizens, it is not there. It shouldn't be there.
Two key areas.
And that is why
this is one, and the other one, welfare for our security operatives, SSS, policemen, soldiers. And you say you've been there and you've seen things yourself. And I think on a daily basis we get to see some of these people when you drive, and you can imagine a soldier in those places with the heavy boots, and you patrol for hours on end, and you don't even have a decent place to sleep at the end of the day.
And that itself encourages them to engage in misdirected antagonism. When innocent people then come around, they pounce on him or her, because the state has turned them into a hostile and alien force. They now unleash violence on the people. And sometimes, I mean, in our student days, when policemen were, asked to go and contain protests, and you have put them in the sun for 3 days, no arrangement for feeding, no arrangement for, no shelter. Okay. So they now unleash violence on you.
Looking at all of these developments, we can't sit back and fold our arms as a country. What do we, the people, do?
Well, number one, we have to make a demand. We have to make a demand on the government to make enough provision, financial provision, for the police and the armed forces to secure the country. And in 2011, according to the INEC, we spent over 200 billion naira on general elections, because it was considered important that we should hold the election. I also believe that if we agree that our lives and property are not secure today as a people, the National Assembly should be mobilized by the executive to appropriate sufficient funds for acquiring the necessary gadgets, for training our armed forces and police personnel.
And then you have the implementation challenge. And
ensure that we also monitor, citizens must monitor such funds when released to ensure that there is no diversion. Secondly, because we are talking of the architecture of security. Yes, you can acquire the gadgets and the rest of them. But we must go further and ensure that the government goes beyond paying lip service to job creation. If you follow the trend, all those who have been kidnapped and released, including the primary school pupils, they were kidnapped in Anambra State 2 years ago. Abia State 2 years ago. The journalists who were kidnapped there, the chairman who was kidnapped in Lagos, Mr. Kendeba Mbeto, even the old man, the 92-year-old man who was abducted and had just been released in Borno State, Alaji Ali Moguno. Yeah. If you read all their comments, they have come out to say we must address job creation for our army of unemployed youth. That is very important, because, as is often said, the devil finds work for idle hands. If young boys and girls are not productively engaged, the tendency, the temptation to engage in criminality is there. Thirdly, we must, as a people, mount prayer on our governments, federal and state governments, to put every child of school age in school. The UNESCO has just come up with a very disturbing report that 10.2 million Nigerian children are out of school. Now, you can't talk of being part of the 20 most developed nations in the year 2020. In 7 years' time, if over 10 million of your children are roaming the street.
Wow.
So these are issues we have to make a matter of urgency. And of course, the government panels have also tasked the government to take the question of corruption much more seriously, to fight corruption much more determinedly. Because if in a country more money, the amount of money looted from the treasury is much, much higher than the money budgeted for development, it's a very serious crisis.
Well, we'll have to let it go there. Mr. Femi Falana, SAN, speaking on the state of the nation. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you very much.
Well, we're back in just a moment here, but remember, we all have to keep doing what we have to do, no matter the